In this video, I'm going to show you how to install new front shocks on this Honda Fourtrax 300. Now this is an old 1990, and these aren't available anymore, but I'm going to show you how to find shocks that will work to the exact size that you need to install them on this ATV. So if you have an older ATV and you can't find the exact shock for it, you're going to need to take your old shock off and do some measurements. One thing you're going to need is the center to center of the eyes. And I like to just put the 10 on the center of one eye, measure down, and get a measurement. That tells me my center to center. Now the other measurement that you're going to need is the thickness of where these eyes are. And you can simply measure that the same way. This one is about 7/8 of an inch. And now you're going to measure your bottom mount. And on this one, it is just about the same, a little smaller. But a lot of times, the top and the bottom will be a little bit different thicknesses. So once you know those dimensions, you can go online and find a shock that will work. So here's an example on eBay. I just pulled up some Honda front shocks. These happen to be for a Foreman. And if you look down here under the specs, right there, it's going to give you all the dimensions you need to determine whether or not these shocks will work for your ATV. The first thing we need to do, loosen the lug nuts on the two front wheels, and then we're going to put a jack underneath the center, jack up the front of the ATV, and remove the two front wheels. Now before we take the two front wheels off, get a wheel chock or a 2x4 and block the rear wheels so the ATV doesn't roll. Now we can go ahead and remove the lug nuts and remove both front wheels. If your shocks and bolts are rusty like this one, take some penetrating oil, spray it on the bolts, let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll try to loosen them up. Use a bottle jack or a piece of wood to support the front wheel assembly before we take the shock off. Really take the top mount off first, and you're going to want a long-handled ratchet for this because these are usually pretty tight. Now sometimes when you've replaced shocks before, the upper and lower bolt are a little bit different. Sometimes one is bigger than the other. In this case, these are both the same size, so don't have to worry about it. But just for your reference, make sure you keep your bolts separate so you know which one goes where. Once your bolts are out and you have everything supported, your shock should slide right out. Now you want to do a test fit to see how it fits in the mounts. And this one here is about 1/16 of an inch wider than my shock mount. So I'm just going to take a crescent wrench and bend this out just a little bit so it will slide in. Now before you slide your shock in, I like to put a little bit of grease around the bushing. Now before you put your nut on, add a little bit of blue Loctite. Now go ahead and tighten up your two shock bolts to 70 foot-pounds. Go ahead and reinstall your wheel and hand tighten your lug nuts. Now go ahead and lower the ATV back onto the floor. And now go ahead and torque your lug nuts. Check your manufacturer specs for the proper torque, but in general, steel wheels are about 35 foot-pounds, aluminum wheels are about 90 foot-pounds. So set your torque wrench. These are steel. I'm going to set it to 35. And here's a close-up look at one of the front shocks I took off. This looks to me to be an original shock, well past its prime. Congratulations on changing your own front shocks. You saved yourself some time and money by not taking it to a dealer, learned a little bit about your ATV, and gave a little better ride quality to your ATV. Hope this video was helpful and informational to you. Thanks for watching.